I want to talk about a Democratic senator's leaked texts that are frankly gross and how it connects to where we are right now as a country and where we need to be going. So Ruben Gallego is a Democratic senator from Arizona, and this past week he had some pretty concerning text messages leaked to the press. They were originally leaked on a right-wing website, then were posted in People, and I read about it in The Advocate. Gallego is a career politician. He was a member of the House of Representatives before being elected to the Senate this past November and being sworn in January. I've been critical of him multiple times this year, including when he supported the Laken-Riley Act. Early in the year, Gallego was repeatedly breaking with Democrats, and he told the Politico he was doing so because the Democratic Party was largely out of touch with where your average Latino is, which is true. We did see more Latinos vote for Trump in the last election. Now, the polling has changed significantly as Donald Trump has begun and carried out in earnest an ethnic cleansing against immigrants in this country, most of whom are from Central and South America. So yeah, I was very critical of Gallego early in the year for supporting the Laken-Riley Act and multiple other times that he was far right of where I would have expected a Democratic senator to be, like even right of the establishment. He does vote with the corporate establishment Democrats overwhelmingly, but even amongst that lot, he was, yeah. So I was honestly a little bit shocked to read this reporting in People where Gallego had texted his friend saying, "We," meaning the Democratic Party, "used to be the party of sex, drugs, and rock and roll." So reading the texts, his friend suggests to him, somebody with a cool head and a solid plan could rise to the top of the Democratic Party. And Gallego responds, "Oh man, have you met my party? I have been yelling at them this whole time." His friend clarified that they were talking about Gallego taking charge, writing, "Seriously, you're getting a lot of great press. Start making the moves. As much of a pain in the ass as you are, I believe you could become the one who rebuilds and leads them." His friend then shared a really fucking misogynistic and gross meme featuring Democratic Representative Rosa DeLauro. That's Gallego's former colleague in the House, right? Current Democratic colleague in Congress. And it referred to her as if erectile dysfunction had a face. And instead of defending his colleague, instead of saying, "That's real, my dude, no, this is not how we want to be. That's not cool, man, not cool." No, instead of saying that, Gallego responded, "They aren't wrong." In follow-up messages, according to People magazine, he elaborated, "We look like the not fun party, always telling and correcting people, not allowing men to be men, women to be hot. We used to be the party of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Now Dem women look like Dem men, and Dem men look like women." Let's make it really clear here. Gallego did not deny the authenticity of these texts, nor did he apologize for the disgusting things that he said. Instead, he framed himself as the victim, saying, "It was very heartbreaking that someone I have served with and known and have been really good friends with for 20 years decided to, leak some of these messages. I'm more sad about the situation that a friend of mine decided to exploit the situation." He then doubled down on the text message, saying that the private conversation was a reflection of what I've been saying the whole time. I've been very clear about where I think the party needs to be. I do think we have to be an open and bigger tent party. So this is just a reflection of what I think I've said. He continued saying, "That's what I'm trying to point out. We should be the party that takes everybody in. At least we have certain core values and we shouldn't be trying to exclude more people." Your core values are that you are allowing your longtime friend to insult your colleague. Your core values are what? That women should be hotter? That you think your colleagues in the Democratic Party should be more sexually appealing to you, Senator Gallego? That's where your values lie? That's what you think inclusivity is? You think a big tent means increased misogyny? Is that what you're saying? I cannot get over this, that Gallego thinks the problem with the Democrats is that they're not allowing men to be men and women to be hot. That Dem women look like Dem men and Dem men look like women. That's what he thinks is the problem in the Democratic Party. I want to read this paragraph here from the Advocate. The remarks come at a moment of escalating political and legislative hostility toward transgender Americans. Seeing a Democratic senator who replaced Democrat turned independent bisexual Senator Kristen Sinema use the same gender policing language deployed by anti-trans commentators has alarmed advocates who say the rhetoric legitimizes narratives that treats gender nonconformity as a cultural defect rather than a civil rights issue. This point was made by independent journalist Erin Reed on her Substack, Erin in the Morning. She has covered this story extensively. I encourage you to go read it. Also, shout out to the Advocate for giving credit to independent women journalists at a time when we are seeing over and over and over again women independent journalists have their reporting harvested by men working for large news organizations and then failing to give credit or compensation where it's due. It's also worth noting here that Gallego, who previously said he was for trans rights and was in support of LGBTQ plus groups, later voted for a defense bill containing a ban on gender-affirming surgeries for military personnel. For me, to hear a Democratic senator who continually votes with the establishment, voted for the Lake and Riley Act, and who is trying to position himself, he's in the press all of the time. He is very active on social media. He's trying to position himself as like an up-and-coming senator, someone who's at the forefront and driving the party. To hear him saying this kind of shit behind closed doors and then not apologizing for it when he gets outed and being like, oh yeah, this is what a big tent looks like to me. This is where I think the problems in the Democratic Party lie. Reading this story, it reminded me of something my friend David posted.
I think that you're wrong if you believe that we're going to swing back towards some extreme form of wokeism once the Trump regime is out of office. I believe that that moment in time has passed us by, and that's a good thing. Let me first off say I am no expert in this field, but I am pretty good at seeing things happen before they happen. I'm also anti-racist, anti-white supremacist. I believe we need to hold on to dear life on the rights that we have gained since women's suffrage, and we need to claw back all of the ones that we are losing under the Trump regime. But there is a larger battle now to be fought because the propaganda is wearing off. I say that all the time, but it's true. Since the United Healthcare CEO incident a year ago now, there's been a massive increase in class consciousness for Americans. The propaganda veil is dropping. And a lot of people are starting to say, oh my God, like, I really thought that the Democratic politicians were trying to do their best for us. Now we see, no, the vast majority of them are corporate stooges. They're funded by these huge PACs, and if they don't do what their donors want them to do, then they're out of office. And we are going to realize that the Republicans and the Democrats are flying the same planes, dropping the same bombs on other countries. The Dems are doing it with a pride flag, a Yes She Can flag, and a BLM flag on there.
Obviously, go watch Dave's full video, but I'm inclined to agree with a lot of what he said there. And I think that Ruben Gallego highlights that for us. He said all of the right things. He manufactured a position for himself to get votes, but behind closed doors, it was clear that he was just speaking whatever lip service would get him elected. He was playing a game. We see too many Democratic politicians who are willing to pivot and position and be chameleons and take up whatever they think will get them votes rather than having their own moral conviction out of which they operate. They operate out of their big corporate donors' interests at the end of the day. And those interests are not aligned with us, the working class. This reminds me of the concept of movement capture, which maybe I want to talk about in the next video. The Democratic establishment has paid lip service, has put on the bumper stickers of LGBTQIA rights, of whatever woke discourse is trending. But at the end of the day, it hasn't really been about the people. It's been about the veneer of whatever will capture votes. While the core of the Democratic establishment is still the imperialist machine. It's still the war machine. It's still in service of corporate interest. It's still funded by dark money, by PACs, by billionaires. And all of that window dressing doesn't change what's at the core. Democratic establishment has not been operating out of our best interest, has not been operating for the working class. Sure, there are members of the Democratic Party who are working to reform it. There are progressives who care about these issues, who earnestly believe in these causes, who do operate out of their own moral compass. But so many of them are fucking chameleons who are driven by dark money, by billionaire money. That's how we get people who are up and comers in the Democratic Party who can say shit like this behind closed doors, because where are their values? Not with the people and not progressive. So what does it look like to have a Democratic Party that's for us? Not like Gallego.